Shout out my nigga Matty B, man. Turn up. Very Park little shit, nigga. Let's go. Turn up. Want me ball out? Want me ball out? Ball out? Want me ball out? Ball out? Ball out? Pull up to the mall, baby. Want me ball out? Throw them hundreds to the sky, then we watch them fall down. Want me ball out? Want me ball out? Bitches on my dick, they like the way I ball out. Let her get on top, got her going all out. Bad yellow bitch, I'm finna knock her walls down. You know how I rock out. So many racks inside my jeans, I lost count. She ain't want me then, bitch, but how about now? Waxed up in my jeans like a kangaroo cow. Icy bitch, I ball like a saw. Fuck up a check, pull up to the mall. Bad yellow bitch got her on the pause. Can't touch a hoe, no, not at all. You know on shit, little boy, knock it off. Nigga want smoke, only take one call. Fuck nigga head with a cannonball. I see got splash like a cannonball. They want with a steel like gold. Fuck it, so just pick some more. Going outside, I can't be off. Tell that lame man to get lost out. Bitch, watch me ball out, ball out. Bitch, watch me ball out, want me ball out, want me ball out, ball out. I see, man. That's stories in the bitch. RCB, man. Shout out my nigga Matty V, man. Glow up, Cartier gang. Let's get it.
Hello, everyone. This is the Living Off Borrowed Time podcast for this week. A little different this week. I'm doing the intro. This is not Patrick speaking. He's not fumbling the intro. Sorry, Patrick. Although I am fumbling the intro now. But no matter, because I am here with a very special guest, Jack, aka 2_ on RYM, a great user, and also has a pretty great YouTube channel under the name 108 Mics. Not that 108 Mics, if you're going to destroy me on RYM, but 108 Mics, the YouTube channel. And
108 mics the second.
The second, right. Squared.
216 mics.
Right, exactly. 216 mics.
Yeah.
Really, really great YouTube channel. And one of the reasons
I appreciate that.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic with him, and what topic would that be, you would ask? Well, that topic is Reptilian Club Boyz, RCB, the group that has taken a very small corner of the internet by storm lately. Pretty much in the past, I would say, year and a half max.
Yeah, that's probably when all their projects have started blowing up.
Yeah, it was weird.
Relatively blowing up.
Because I didn't listen to them until probably, I want to say March of this year. I was late.
I didn't hear about them till I was pretty late too, I guess, because I think if you want to count the the DOMD and the High C collabs, they've been doing stuff since 2017. If you want to trace it back to there, and the individual members have been putting out stuff for a while, but it's kind of like a super group because there's all these rappers kind of coming together. But yeah, I heard about them because I actually got a comment on one of my YouTube videos that told me to listen to them. On
right, and that was the Drain Gang video, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Which, if the joke is that if you made a diagram of Drain Gang fans, Goth Money fans, and RCB fans, it would just be a circle.
Yeah.
Which is 100% correct because
it's totally true. Yeah.
I love all three of those things.
Oh, same.
So, yeah, if you made a diagram and also you have to throw in Space Ghost Pert.
For sure.
As well, which I guess goes in with Goth Money a little bit, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now I guess you can add, you can add to the circle.
You can add RCB.
Right, add RCB, and also just anything that's bit-crushed and off kilter and weird, and sounds like it should be in an arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's they're calling it surge, I think.
Yeah, that's the term that I've been...
Yeah, there's a lot of terms that have been kind of thrown around. There's Hexd, and there's Hexd and surged and crushed and stuff, and it's all really dope.
Yeah, it really is, and it also, when any kind of new subgenre pops up like this, it's just how pedantic can internet music nerds get about this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a million different distinctions for this, but
yeah.
This will be a great episode, so we're just going to go through RCB, their discography. I mean, you guys know the drill by now if you're long-time listeners. If you're not, we usually do discography. We'll go through it. We'll talk about some of their most notable works, how we got into them. So we kind of just said that. But one question that I really wanted to ask you, Jack, leading off of this, is what do you think the emergence, albeit pretty small, but what do you think the emergence of a group like RCB and they're gaining notoriety? Because High C is gaining notoriety on SoundCloud. His stuff has over 100,000 plays now. His recent stuff, so he's getting some following there. What do you think the growing small level of popularity that they do have, and their emergence in general means for hip hop? Because it's something that I've never heard before in this genre, which further proves to me that hip hop is such a cool genre. Because there's been a million great albums of the last few years where it's bars, 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 but there's also a million great albums the last few years that involve this sort of taking a sound or an idea and stretching it to
it's pushing trap and cloud rap to its very limits.
Right, and it's almost where it becomes something completely distinctive on its own.
Yeah, it's
free
so
from the
eccentric
trappings.
It's so eccentric and it's so interesting. And I think that with its emerging popularity, there's probably going to be a whole wave of other artists. I mean, there's kind of other artists that are kind of doing this thing now too. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Yeaaa has been doing that. A lot of stuff that was on that Surge compilation from Dismiss Yourself.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Spirit Girls?
Yes. Oh, they're really good.
That. Kind of like that wave. And I could see this wave kind of getting bigger just in the coming years because it's still very new. And there hasn't really been that many albums. It's all been kind of mixtapes and EPs and everything. There hasn't really been a definitive record in the genre. And maybe there doesn't have to be because it's an internet genre. And
right.
That's kind of just how people consume music through the internet, kind of part of the aesthetic almost. But I can see it growing more in the future, especially with its new popularity. It'll probably inspire some other artists to make all this really outlandish stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a thing where if you just peruse SoundCloud right now, if you're kind of in the know, which is tough because there's so much music these days. But if you really look, there's 3 waves on SoundCloud that I've noticed going through it in the last few months, which I really binged a lot of pretty much any SoundCloud rap or pop or weirdo Euro trance adjacent sort of thing all these different dance pop, alt R&B, it's all these genres melded together, and that's kind of one wave. And this other wave is a bunch of artists that are Chief Keef by way of Playboi Carti in a sense. Where
I can see that.
You've got those artists doing that thing, the kind of people I've been listening to lately, Autumn, Isaiah, I believe, Summers, people like that, Wyland. So there's a lot of good artists in that wave. And then there's also artists in this, in the wave that I think RCB occupies, which is the sort of bit crushing and real
like Nightcore trap.
Right, how fast can we do spoken word rap over these arcade beats?
Right.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. And then I guess you also have just a huge wave of really, really dark experimental cloud rap trip.
Yeah, it's kind of the goth money wave.
Right, and BMB, well, formerly BMB.
Yeah, BMB, that's right.
Which I guess is Julex now. Julect. There's 2 X's in there, and I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. But I think it's Jule ET, something like that. Julex ET, something, whatever it is. It's really good shit usually. So I think those are the waves that are really dominating the underground and SoundCloud right now. And RCB is at the top of. RCB kind of has an intersection with all 3 of those waves, I think, because they can do the weirdo pop stuff. And they can do the really dark, stuff, and then they can also do quote unquote nightcore rap, and fast rap and surge and whatever you want to call it.
With the up pitched vocals that are on some of their songs.
Right, and the super dark and distorted vocal samples. They
can do a lot of that stuff. It's all of it kind of just put together in this very extreme way.
Right. Yeah, so for me, RCB has been one of my favorite musical discoveries of the last few years for sure.
Oh, same.
Just getting into them is really a revelation because, it's just it's so cool to see like what rap can be, and
it's like, and it almost feels like hip hop, like when it comes to experimental hip hop, like decades of experimental hip hop, I feel like the 2010s is probably like the most eclectic and the most kind of outside the boundaries of the genre, because it's been around for so long and it's like so popular now. And like with this trap wave, it's like people have now been kind of experimenting with trap and doing that, and it's just like there's just so much you can do with hip hop.
Right, and not everything. And I mean, speaking as someone who, I mean, sure, there's definitely mainstream, trap artists or albums that like, I'm not into, but there's plenty of, I mean, I'm pretty positive even now at its saturation point with mainstream trap, like,
when like YouTubers were doing it.
Oh yeah, YouTubers were doing it is not something I'm positive about at all.
No. But that's like okay, it's become like become too big.
I really started to see it in like 2016, 17, because prior to that, trap was kind of like what we're talking about right now. I mean, a bigger scale, it was more popular than this, but it was in like the early to very early mid 2010s, like it was still really cool and eclectic to like Young Thug.
Yeah.
Or to like be super into Future, you know what I mean? Which like, I was then, and I mean, I still am now, but it's just like, it's different in the sense that these artists right here have kind of, captured that like feeling of being in tune with something like more underground, and before it came, super big, which
more like commercialized.
Right, which, as you know, for all of us music nerds, like that is our calling card for being complete fucking snobs.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so I guess we'll just get into some of their projects. They do have so many. So we talked about this, off air, but
like which ones like we should talk about.
Yeah,
they have a lot. There's like the high C solo stuff and the like DOMD and Cartier and all that.
Which the DOMD solo stuff. I feel like we could even get that out of the way first, because there's good stuff here. There's also
like not like
there's also a lot of
high C.
Yeah. Oh no. He also has DOMD has what, like 20 EPs, and I've listened to all of them, so I would know.
Oh really? Dang.
Yeah, I went on like a binge for a few days of like his discography, because it's so short. Nice. All these EPs are like 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you listen to 2 songs and that's your EP.
Right.
Also, these guys don't do it as much as like some other newer artists on SoundCloud, but it's like, when you have a good song, please make it longer than 90 seconds.
Oh yeah.
I'm just begging you, like, one time, just please make your really good song longer than like 85 seconds.
Right. Yeah. Just like, come on, like add a hook.
Yeah. Just do the hook again. I like the hook.
Yeah. Because like some songs are like just a hook.
Right. And it's just like, oh well, your verse is, there's no real conception of like bars. Your verse is just like 4 fast spoken word lines, and then you're back to your hook again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but it's kind of like it's like this generation's punk almost, or like hardcore punk, when you'd have like these like 7 inches with these like 40-second songs on them,
right?
And people just like screaming really loudly and quickly.
It's
kind of like that.
What you're saying is that what you're saying is that these are those like short DOMD EPs is basically Minutemen.
Oh yeah. Like you could, if you put all of them like together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get double nickels on the dime too.
Which I bet the lead singer of Minutemen would approve of that, because
for sure. It's cool? Like,
doesn't he like music today? I'm pretty sure he's up on like music today.
He seems like the kind of guy that would be.
I would definitely I would co-sign that. But yeah, so I guess we'll start. I mean, the DOMD projects that I were gonna bring up, I guess the first one I was gonna bring up was
Bloodrayne,
Volume 1, because I feel like this is his best mixtape.
For sure. Not
like including his stuff with High C, but just by himself, this is his best mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
This is it's a 16-track mixtape, and I feel like the vast majority of it is essential. Like the title track, and especially So Icy, obviously, which is a one of their most viewed songs on YouTube, and for good reason.
Yeah. That one's iconic.
And like, I mean, you know, DOMD the casting spells bars really started with the
Yeah, and then that's
song.
become a motif in their music now.
Right.
Like cast a spell and like all their samples too, like the ad lib samples that they do, that are like kind of that come back later. Like like a lot of them are. It's funny. A lot of them are actually like from I like just learned this recently. A lot of them are from Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, the Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah. Which I did not own, but I did own a Game Boy Advance back in the day. I also owned a Game Boy Color when I was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my Game Boy, my old because I grew up initially as like I was into video games a lot, and I kind of fell off once I went to school, or once I went to college. But you know, still gotta respect the Castlevania because those were good games.
Yeah, Aria of Sorrow is like probably my favorite Castlevania game actually. And like I didn't even realize that that's what it was from until I kind of looked up where the samples came from. And like I like how it kind of comes back and they kind of use it as like an instrument, but it's like an ad lib too. It's like their way of ad libbing, but it's like with a sample. And I think that's really cool.
That's like funny to me that like they even had like Castlevania samples. Like that's, you know, something that I would easily believe. Because it is super bass, and that leads me to this. Like, you don't get RCB. Obviously, you don't get a lot of things in hip hop without Lil B, but RCB definitely feel like they really embraced like
they're like descendants.
Like directly
descendants of the bass god.
What Lil B was doing, you know. Like I wonder how many times High C listened to like, you know,
like Evil Red Flame.
Right, which is definitely one of the best Lil B projects for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Bloodrayne. Like, I don't know how much you have to say on this.
I haven't spent that much time with Bloodrayne. I think I've only actually listened to it like a couple times. But, yeah, it's definitely like a starting point. It's actually one of the longest tapes to even come from the group. It's like 40 minutes, which I think is interesting.
It's funny how that is the case because it's literally like 36 minutes. So, yeah, but really, really good stuff here. Like, I think DOMD, like sometimes, a lot of times he gets pointed out as like the weak link of the group.
Yeah, because I think his vocal delivery isn't like as commanding as High C's.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, like he's a little more. He kind of has a more like relaxed flow, I guess you could say.
Did you know that he was like 30 apparently?
Really, I didn't know. I didn't know how old he was.
Well, I don't know. I was speaking with shout out Look at Ghost, RYM legend Look at Ghost, but he was saying because a lot of artists in the underground have beef with DOMD.
Oh yeah, I've kind of heard about that.
And I was just like, I wonder.
He's like a big scammer apparently.
Right, he's a big scammer, and people were accusing him of like being a like pedo or whatever. And I was like,
oh really?
And I was asking, you know, Ghost about it, and he was like, I think it's just because he's a scammer and he's like 30, so people think he's old. Because
he's like 30. Yeah, I didn't actually know how old he was. I just assumed they were all like 20 something.
Yeah, I assume they were around the same age, and who knows? None of them. You can't find how old they are. Like if you look it up, like good luck finding.
If you Google like how old is Diamonds on My Dick.
Diamonds on My Dick. Google comes back to you with like the.
I love his freaking name, by the way. Diamonds on My Dick. That is such a base rap name.
It really is. Like it just gives you a really terrible image, I will say.
Yeah, it does. It's like it sounds kind of painful.
Just an absolutely horrible image. But yeah, shout out to DOMD. This is a really good mixtape and one of my favorites of his personally. You know, going through his other stuff.
Like I've spent more time listening to Bloodrayne the game or Bloodrayne Boyz the game.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which is
that one's like shorter. That one's only like 7 tracks, but yeah,
that's another great project. Really experimental. One of their most experimental, I think.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, Bloodrayne Boyz the game, good, and Bloodrayne Vol.1, very good. And I'm going through his EPs right now to see if there's one I want to talk about. I mean, Blooddrip is really good.
Anything with blood in it, right?
Also, the Pretty Boy EP with High C is good. It has like the first track is really good, and the second track is like solid. but the first track, Pretty Boy Occultist, like that song's fire. I don't know if you've heard that one, but
yeah, I can't really remember like how it sounds. I can't
yeah.
really speak much on
I
it.
mean, they're 2 songs and they're like 2:20 each, so it won't take you very long.
Right, yeah, that's true.
I'm looking through what else. I mean, the speaking of short songs, these 2 tracks combined for a length of 2:41. Blood Tears in My Sprite, once again with the blood motif.
Right.
This is another some more good tracks here.
And then they're like a minute long.
Yeah, they're a minute long. I have it rated like at a 3.5, and I feel like I'd have it rated higher if they were like a minute longer each.
Yeah, that
they're
makes
both
sense.
good.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Sometimes more is more.
Yeah.
Seriously. So
yeah. Although it is kind of refreshing in like the stream trolling age when people are just like bloating their albums for streams, and that this is like the opposite.
Yeah, this is, I mean, quite literally, like,
Yeah.
and also they're taking their stuff off SoundCloud too. It's like sometimes. So it's like, seriously.
So then it like becomes like something you gotta like sort out in a bootleg.
Right, it becomes like, I better, rip this to like whatever I can save it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's gonna.
It's like a marketing tactic.
Yeah, I will say Blooddrip, outside of just the hilarious cover art, which is essentially a hentai princess.
Oh yeah.
Which
I like. Okay, usually if there's like a hentai princess on a SoundCloud cover, like it's gonna be fire.
How much am I gonna bump this? And if my friends ever
like,
saw me,
you're about to hear some like high pitched, really fast paced, off the wall trap, and it's gonna be totally fire.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's like part of the aesthetic.
Exactly. I have to feel like I'm in an episode of like what's the I have to feel like I'm in an episode of like Sailor Moon, right? And I'm just which, by the way, great ass anime. Shout out to Sailor Moon. Classic stuff. So yeah, basically, if you like your rap that is made for people who love Sailor Moon, then definitely listen to Blooddrip by Diamondsonmydick.
Yes.
The first track with Cartier God is super fire. One of DOMD's best like tracks on a solo project for sure. So that is all I have to say about that. I mean, like I said, these little short EPs are not much to talk about. It's like,
yeah, I don't have like as much to say about DOMD. That's why I'm not like saying that much.
No, it's just like, I feel like with DOMD, it's like you either like this aesthetic or you don't, and that's kind of what it is for him. He's not the first person I would recommend for people who are listening to RCB to like get into, but nonetheless, I would recommend some of his stuff because he does have a bunch of good EPs. He's got some, some mid ones and some not so good ones as well, but most of his EPs.
Yeah, I'll probably go through and binge these soon.
Yeah, most of them are like, solid, or like decent, or then some of them are really good. I will say he had an EP, Black Air Force One, this year, which is basically TJX6 cosplay.
It's like, really?
Yeah, it's like whatever, but it's like one of his weaker EPs, but he made up for it with his last few. So yeah, DOMD, he's just he's
putting out tracks.
Just putting out tracks, putting out tracks with hentai princesses on the cover, Exactly. So I guess we could do Cartier next because I feel like doing RCB as a group and then High C back to back would be.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're building up to the main event.
Yeah, Cartier God's really good. He doesn't put out as much work.
Yeah, he's like although a lot of people were saying that he's kind of like he kind of like started like the whole sound kind of like he was like the first one to like put out work. I mean, I think like because he's been in the game for longer than High C and DOMD have, I think.
Yeah, he has a mixtape from 2012 that I listened to.
Right,
Lean with the Captain, which apparently is like, I mean, it's definitely different. Like, I heard it, and it's definitely different, but...
Yeah, the stuff with Ocean Gang.
Yeah, it's like super psychedelic, though, and you can kind of tell that, like, he was going to go in this direction.
Yeah, but it's like the early days of it.
Very true, like, very rough, and, like...
Very rough before it found its niche, I suppose.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess with Cartier, like the projects that I have really enjoyed have all been recently of his.
Yeah, like that Vapordrip project from earlier this year.
Oh yeah, that project owns. That's my favorite of his.
Yeah, it's
Really
pretty
great.
cool. It's like yeah, it's not like as much. It's not even like as much hip hop. It's more just like hypnagogic pop stuff.
No, to me, it's just like a straight up like pop record with like some
Hmm.
alternative R&B, like synth wave kind of in there. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's like RCB doing like sort of the like late 2010s like pop that sounds like it was made in 1985 and also 2185
Oh
like
yeah.
fused together simultaneously. It's like taking the aesthetics of like you
Of
know
like Ariel Pink and PC music.
right, that's a perfect comp and just like
Yeah.
throwing them together on an EP and it's really great.
Yeah,
um
it's really cool.
it's really cool. It's like it's super unique and I feel like it's like very very psychedelic and it feels like a cool new direction for the group, um, which they've done a lot of this year.
Yeah, I
But
could see them kind of honing in on this sound more.
yeah, and LazyGod, shout out to LazyGod also because he's got some DJ mixes that are really cool and he's like another mastermind behind the group that like doesn't get a lot of shine because
Yeah, that's true. Because like everyone's always talking about the big three in the
right,
group.
exactly, and like LazyGod's super super underrated, so shout out to him.
Mhm.
And that Vapordrip EP, probably my favorite Cartier release. But he's got
Mhm.
some other good stuff, like the Once Every Blue Moon thing, which is like him doing a drum and bass record,
Mhm.
which is very cool and very funny.
I haven't
Um,
I haven't heard that one.
yeah, it came out last year. It's a pretty cool listen. Like it's short as all these are.
Mhm.
Um, not
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
short though. It's like 20 minutes, so it's got
Oh
some.
really?
Yeah, but it's really like I said, it very much is like drum and bass and like hypnagogic pop and like a little bit of like the usual like RCB
RCB shtick.
RCB stick exactly. But yeah, that's a good one. Digital Drip, which is one he did with DOMD last year.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good one.
I remember. Yeah, I remember checking out that one.
There's a good song with Marcy Main on that. I'm So High. There's also the songs with High C, which are very good.
Mhm.
Good, really, really great project. Actually, I reevaluated it recently because I liked it, but shout out to Kitten Puke. He listened to it recently, and he kind of got me to re-listen to it and bump up my rating. So shout out to him because I just hadn't listened
Yeah.
to it in a while. But yeah, I think with Cartier, like he's just really good. Like his album last year was like 21 songs, like Dusk Till Dawn, but it was still really consistent throughout and like a really good listen. Um, so definitely shout out to him because he's someone that isn't like the like as on the level popularity wise as like High C or even in the group stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. People don't talk about him as much, and I've kind of been sleeping on him too.
yeah, people definitely don't talk about him, but he's definitely worth your time. So
Yeah.
shout out to
He has some
Cartier.
cool songs with Blade actually.
He does. Oh my gosh.
Let Me Go is a really great song.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that and Jaws too. That's a cool song.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let Me Go.
Just do an EP with Blade.
Absolutely, and just like make it sound like Ice Dancer.
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. Like Ice Dancer with Cart. Was he on? Was he on Ice Dancer?
He was on Ice Dancer. He
Yeah,
had
yeah,
the
he had a
little
feature,
like
right?
the intermission track,
Yeah, that's right.
which is crazy and definitely really cool going back to listen to that now and you're like, oh yeah, this is like Blade doing the RCB sound. Like if you listen to it, it just sounds like a RCB song.
It's like
Uh,
yeah, and Blade's like on like a whole other level of popularity compared to RCB. So it's
oh,
like
absolutely.
kind of like bringing
Especially
them back.
especially overseas, right? Because he's pretty big in like England.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
big in like Sweden and stuff.
right.
It's
I
his
mean,
hometown.
yeah, he's got some. I
He's
mean,
from
over
Stockholm.
here, I mean his videos, like his most popular YouTube videos, do like 2-3 million views probably. Like so, for Cartier God to get that kind of look in like 2018 before like most people knew who the fuck RCB was. Like
Right, yeah, and like before RCB had really like come into their own, I guess.
Right, and like kind of really taking the internet by, or like I said, small corners of the internet by storm.
By storm, yeah.
But yeah, this is "Let Me Go" is a really good song. It took me about 4 or 5 listens to click because it was just like weird.
Yeah, because it's so it's like really out there compared to like even Cartier's other stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing about him is like I feel like he's definitely the most out there member of the group.
Yeah, like, and he kind of delves outside of the realm of like hip hop more than the others do.
Yeah, and I think that's like when you talk about RCB and when you like they're more diverse than I feel like even some fans would give them like credit for, and but not like intentionally, but just like they're just a really diverse group. Like they have a lot of different like cool musical ideas. And
yeah. It's like they're like kind of like the sound of the internet right now.
Yeah, seriously. And I guess to your point about like the stuff with Bladee, the "I Want It All," that's another good song.
Yeah, that's right. That was a single from like 2017, I think, right?
Yeah, 2017 from a while ago.
Yeah, that was before Ice Dancer, though. Yeah, I guess it makes sense that they would collab before he'd have him on his album.
Yeah, I mean,
Ice Dancer's mixtape, but yeah.
No, like that's definitely. I mean, because Bladee hadn't even. That was early 2017, so he hadn't even put out working on "Dying" yet. He hadn't even.
Yeah, that's true.
He was still in like the like.
And like Red Light wasn't out yet either.
No, not even close. He had next year for that, so
yeah.
He had only done Ever Since and like Glue and stuff. So he was still in like the, chilly ambient pop like sort of lane.
Yeah, kind of the Drain Gang was kind of like in like their earlier days, their more lo-fi sound.
Yeah, I feel like with them, and I don't mind going on a side tangent about Drain Gang because they're so interconnected. Like, and I feel like
they're kind of all cut. They're all kind of cut from a similar cloth.
Right, exactly. I feel like with Drain Gang, I think Ever Since was the turning point for them, and we just didn't really know that at the time.
Yeah, but now in retrospect, it kind of is.
Because I feel like when you listen to Glue or like the Thai Boy project from 2014,
it's like so much more. It's so much more lo-fi and like unpolished, but that kind of works to its benefit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
it's like I wasn't even listening to it back then, and yet it feels kind of nostalgic somehow.
That's how so much of their music sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really cool. I mean, you listen to like Rip Bladee and you're like, yeah, it makes sense this came out then, but also like this could have come out now as well. Mm-hmm. Like, and just how it is, and like some of the other stuff too. Like, I mean, you said Glue and like the Thai Boy Tiger that project. Yeah.
And and even like early like Echo singles, like Hold Me Down Like Gravity.
Yeah, which is a classic.
Yeah, that's like one of the best cloud rap songs ever made.
And there are a bunch of them that come from Sweden. Like
yeah.
A lot of the best cloud rap songs come from Sweden. So.
Yeah, Lean. Gotta give Lean some credit.
Gotta give Lean some props. Although I saw you come under fire on your YouTube video a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Some people thought I was like disrespecting Lean, but like I didn't really mean it that way. I was just kind of making a joke.
Right.
Because, like, okay, I want to say Ginseng Strip 2002. It's 2002, right? Yeah, that is one of the best rap songs ever made.
That song is...
And I actually put Warlord on my favorite albums of the 2010s list, so don't think I'm hating on Lean.
Warlord...
I absolutely love Warlord.
Warlord's the rare album where the deluxe is better than the original.
Yeah.
It's a weird like thing that doesn't usually happen, but
Warlord's just like it's like an epic. It just like it's not even that long, but it like feels longer than it is just because it's so epic.
Yeah, I guess for a Young Lean album, it's pretty long, just because his albums are usually short. I mean, I mean, Stranger. I know Poison Ivy was really short. Stranger.
Yeah, Stranger. I think is like it's like probably about half an hour, over half
an
hour.
It's definitely like on the shorter side. But yeah, so glad, good thing we cleared up the Young Lean disrespect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I have no disrespect for Young Lean. Some people were mad that I didn't like Legendary Member that much, and like I've gone back to it and I've like tried to like it, but I do kind of feel the same way about it. which
Really?
like sucks because I really want to like it. I do think I should have talked about Tiger more in my video. I do kind of wish I did that. And like there's things about my drinking video that I don't really like that much. Like I do kind of wish I went more in depth about like the collaborative stuff and all that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a video. You didn't want to make your video 30 minutes long, you know?
Right, yeah. And it was, in all fairness, one of my earlier videos. I'm still pretty early on YouTube. I've only been at it for like a little over a year at this point, but it was like my 7th video.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're definitely, I mean, even in that video though, you did sound pretty polished for someone that hasn't been on, YouTube that long. Like, you can definitely tell when you watch a lot of YouTubers when it's like, they're
it's like their first video.
Right.
Or like exactly. They've like only been doing it for like a few months or something.
No, absolutely. And like on that video though, I will say I agreed with like most of your opinions, but I do think that I don't know, the Legendary Member is probably the first album from Drinking that I would recommend it to someone who hasn't listened to them.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lot more like accessible than their other stuff. But like I guess to me it just kind of sounds a little more like generic, I guess.
No, I mean I guess, but I don't know.
Because like to me it sounds like Astroworld. Like I don't know how many people agree with that, but like I just think it sounds a lot like a Travis Scott kind of album. And I know a lot of people were saying that like Drinking like influenced Travis Scott though. Like yeah, that's true, but I think that they have very different sounds now, so it's like kind of come full circle.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and I definitely think that like obviously I know you mentioned this in a video of like I Don't Give a Fuck or Beijing, which by the way, Beijing is an amazing song, but I
don't think it's a bad song. I just think it's like
I love that song. So for one, because I guess I like Travis Scott very much, and I feel like no matter how his features have been really 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 hit or miss, but no matter how like he no matter how he is like a song like Beijing, I definitely see Travis Scott on that, but also at the same time like that song, what makes it good to me is the same thing as what makes a good Travis Scott song good, where it's like
like it's good, like it's very good sounding like Travis Scott stuff, I guess, but like I don't know, I guess that's not really what I go to Drain Gang for. Like I kind of go for them for like the weirdo like sad boy trap, I guess.
Yeah, and that's like perfectly. I mean, that's like their lane,
right? Yeah,
it makes perfect sense. I think my like qualm is that I feel like like everybody has personal taste. Like nothing wrong with you not nothing wrong with you not liking the Thai Boy album. I would put the Thai Boy album. I think would probably be in like probably the back half of their top 5 for me. Like I listen to it all the fucking time.
Oh, Legendary Member.
Yeah, Legendary Member.
Yeah. I kind of wish I went more in depth about Tiger though, because I actually that album's kind of grown on me more in recent times.
Tiger was one that grew on me the most out of like any Drinking project, I think.
Yeah, I think me too, because I do think he kind of sounds like Blade. Like his voice is kind of like similar to Blade.
Yeah, I feel
maybe
like
not when you hear them next to each other, like when they're on a song together, like you can tell like when Thai Boy's going, but like they do kind of have like the same shtick.
Yeah, and I think that like on that tape, in the beginning, I was like, I'm not so sure about this. Like this is like decent, but I don't know. But then like just kept listening to it, and like Diamonds is so good, and like
Shadow Silence.
Yep.
Shadow Silence is probably my favorite Thai Boy song.
Shadow Silence is amazing. So I feel like with Legendary Member, honestly, I don't know. I just felt like Legendary Member was like, Drain Gang's like moment to like really break through, even though they had already broken through essentially like in the underground. But I feel like Legendary Member, was kind of a really important moment for the group, because he was sort of like the weak link, and not really the weak link is a harsh statement. Tiger's really Tiger's great. His other mixtapes is okay.
And Echo hadn't like put out Echo hadn't put out like a tape or anything yet, really. Like he hadn't put out a full length, but yet every like single that he had was just so good that like
everybody knew Echo was going to be a star just because of like
he's iconic.
Right. We knew what he was capable of.
Yeah,
I think
he would be my favorite in Drain Gang if he had more music, I'd say.
Yeah, because his 2 projects to me are like classic level,
Mhm.
but he only has 2 projects.
Yeah. Wait, are we counting Beauty Sleep as one of them?
I mean, I did just
Yeah, I
because I
would
feel
too.
like it's canon in the Drain Gang
It
universe.
really is, yeah. Because even though it's like technically not a fit, I think Beauty Sleep is like a 10 out of 10 now.
Yeah,
Like when I made the video, I thought like, okay, this is cool, but it's like very demo like you can tell it's kind of unfinished. But like I've just listened to it so much more since then, and like just the way it all comes together is just very, very interesting.
my favorite, yeah, I have E at a 10 actually. If
I respect that. I've listened to E so much.
E really changed how I looked at like not how I looked at like pop music. I already love pop music, but just like what it could be.
Yeah.
I feel like E just blew my brain like slowly over time. Like I first heard it and I was like, this is great.
And what's
And
funny
that was
is,
like
oh,
6
sorry, I
months
didn't mean to
ago.
cut you.
No, you're good. We cut each other off all the time on this.
Yeah.
This podcast is the king of cutting each other off. But yeah, I think with E, my first couple listens, I was like, this is really good, and like Peroxide blows my brains out, but also like I don't know, I have to be in the mood to listen to it, and I just kept on listening to it like once, because like I said, I liked Drain Gang a lot from the jump, but then like once you hit that obsession point, which I probably
there's no going back. There's
yeah,
there's
I
nothing else
probably
that you want to listen to ever.
exactly like I probably hit that point in like I want to say like April, May of this year. And I went back to E a lot, and I was like, "Yeah, this is a 10. Like this is
Yeah, like it's just like every track is so great.
every track's so great." But Beauty Sleep is definitely I have that one very high as well. So, but yeah, I think with Thai Boy, I guess to wrap up my point, like I feel like it's such an easy listen, and all the songs are like so well produced, and like Legendary Member to me feels like the best Drain Gang song, and like it probably isn't, but
it's like the ultimate super group.
Right, but it's like
they're all there. Like Lean's there.
Like that song to me is just like Sweden stamping. It's like right. It's like
or like Lean's like kind of mainstream, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean Sweden just like stamping its impact on rap music like in that one song, because like everybody does what they do best on that song. Like Blade comes in, it's like really catchy. Echo comes in, demolishes it with like the crawling up the walls, like covering my. Like, I love that whole part. And then like Thai Boy comes in, catchy hook, like catchy little verse, like, and then Lean comes in with the cleanup verse and demolishes it. Like even just the way he comes in when he's about to come in, like when Thai Boy's still going, and Lean's just like in the background doing ad libs. That gets me.
It's coming.
It's coming. So yeah, I don't know. The Thai Boy record to me just feels like, just like the ultimate one of like the ultimate cloud rap albums of like recent years. But I get not liking it as much because I don't know. I feel like
I get your perspective too.
Yeah. I mean, to me, if I just like listening to beats like this ethereal and like listening to music, like not many drinking records are like summer albums. Like this is a summer record. Like I listened to this in my car yesterday. Like it's that sort of.
Drinking's like it's like mostly very wintry, I guess, because it kind of has a sadder tone to it.
Right, like this.
Depending on who you're listening to.
Right, like this album to me is just like happy and like triumphant and like warm throughout the record and like uplifting. It's definitely the most like uplifting Drain record. Like I listen to like tracks on this and I instantly feel better like during my day.
I feel that.
So I guess that's I'm probably not going to defend it as well as some of your viewers might have, but
yeah, for sure. But like I'm not really gonna argue against it. It's just like
personal taste.
Yeah, it's more of just a personal taste thing. What I was gonna say is that I think it's funny that E has kind of become like the breakout tape because I've seen like more people talk about E like outside of the Drain Gang sphere than any other thing that's related.
Well, I mean, you could be cynical and say that was the Fantano effect.
Yeah, like that's true too, actually, because he did rate that kind of positively.
Right, and he, and that was before his, Exeter review where he thought it was like okay. So he was thinking Blade was trash, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he gave like Red Light like a 1.
Yeah.
And like I think Red Light is a 10, by the way.
Right, I know. I've seen you ready for it. It's your favorite Bladee record, right?
It's my favorite Bladee record. Although Ever Since does come close.
Yeah, Red Light is. I have that at a 4. Well, a 4 or an 8, depending on how you score your stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's definitely a high one. Like it's grown on me a lot. I mean, I liked it at first, but Red Light was the first Drain record I heard, which is like funny to think about.
Oh, I think it was for me too, actually. Because I think I heard. It's funny. I think I actually heard about it like because Fantano gave it a 1. He gave it a 1, so I was like curious about it, and I was like, hey, this is like kind of good. And then I just kept listening to it, and then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I heard Red Light and Ever Since, and then I kind of like took a year break for some reason, and then I listened to the rest of their stuff. But yeah, but I think coincidentally, tying it back to RCB because I think they are like, like I said, if you made a graph of fans of those two and some others in the rap underground world, it's just a circle.
Yeah, it's all overlap. It's all connected.
It's all connected, Black Cray, Space Ghost. It's all, any BMB stuff. Like it's all the same. But yeah, like I think hearing him on like tracks with RCB shows that like RCB,
they're connected.
Right? They're connected to RCB. Like can cross over and like do things that are not just like, hey,
that's just the super like in your face kind of overwhelmingly bombastic stuff that they're doing.
But yeah, I guess with Cartier God, excuse me. Also great elite production tag. Oh
yeah.
Definitely one of my favorites in the group. But yeah, the Vapordrip, definitely the one project I would encourage people to listen to first. Even though it doesn't sound like a lot of other stuff of his, but just like as an entry point, I think because it's a new one and it's probably his best one, I would definitely encourage people to listen to that. It's
maybe
like
a sign of what's to come.
Maybe, because it would be cool. I mean, it's just like really, really chilled out like pop music, which would be a cool change of pace.
Yeah, like I love like taking pop and like this like an avant-garde direction. I'm like a sucker for that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
it's catchy, but it's also like I don't know, different sounding from everything else.
Right, which is like always cool. I mean, that stuff is cool for more than just like, hey, I listen to different music. Like it's
right, yeah.
It's more than just that.
Because it's because it feels innovative. It's like something that's new and fresh, and like, sometimes you get tired of hearing the same thing.
Right, exactly. And that's very important. Like just in terms of innovating, and RCB have been at the forefront of this, like in innovation in the underground that has now kind of taken on a life of its own. Which I guess is a great point to get into their group stuff, because listening to their group stuff for the first time, months and months back, it was like, my first reaction was like, how did we get here?
I was like, whoa, this is like, they're like, they have all these like really fast flows.
Right.
They like work into these like beats that are really whacked out. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm into this.
Yeah, it was really like, how does one even dissect music like this? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Like Bizarre Adventure was the first that I heard from them. And
yeah.
It has on Apple Music. I use Apple Music to listen to. That's like the streaming service that I use. The track list is like slightly different, or like it's in a different order than it is on like SoundCloud and Bandcamp. So like it starts with Cast a Spell, and like he starts with that hook. It's like you get into it.
Oh, absolutely.
Into it from there.
I guess we can bounce around, but yeah, Bizarre Adventures, I definitely have a lot to say about that, because that's a classic. Like that's such a good project. I guess we'll start with the one that a lot of people probably started with, which is Demons in Tokyo.
Yeah. Sex.
What was your reaction when you saw that cover for the first time?
I was like, oh, okay.
That's a pretty muted reaction.
It was like, I don't know. Like, I I didn't have like that strong of a reaction. I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
this looks kind of neat. Well, actually, and also when I was thinking about making the video later, I kind of wanted the font of like the word tread to kind of look like this cover.
Right.
That was kind of the idea behind it, and I used like this like website to make it. It doesn't look like exactly the same, but it's kind of similar-ish. But yeah, I love the cover.
It's a great cover. It's a great project. I think it kind of starts off like the first two songs could, serve as like a mission statement for like just high C and DOMD in general.
Yeah.
Like, Bloody Nikes.
Dude, that song is
Yeah.
like that like instantly gets stuck in your head.
You're just walking around the
Blood
house like
on my
blood
Nike.
on my Nikes. Blood on my neck. What's that?
Yeah.
Blood on my they're really great.
Mhm.
They're really great.
Like, yeah.
It's tough to explain to people who haven't heard it, but you're just you're gonna get into it. To me,
It's like
inevitable.
it's so like cloudy, it's like drugged out, it's like you're on drugs. Which I don't know, like I feel like that's kind of a cliched way to describe music at this point, but
yeah, I feel like the 2010s have given us a lot of like, man,
a lot
it
of
feels
drugged
like
out
you're on
music.
drugs.
Like
Yeah,
you'd say that about a lot of albums, but on my nights, it's like it's catchy, but yet
right.
there's like not even really like any drums at that point. It's like just kind of this ambient-ish beat.
With like these weird like laser tag ass like sound effects in the background.
Yeah.
Like pew 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 pew.
And like the vocals sound kind of like the vocals are very I don't really know how to describe the vocals, but you know.
They're yeah. If you know, you know. It's that sort of thing. Like,
If you know, you know. I don't know. My music description is kind of malfunctioning. It's broken me.
Right. You're not making a YouTube video, so
I'm not. Yeah, I can't like sit down and write. I'm
right.
just going off the cuff.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, this is a great project. I mean, I will say one of the reviews that kind of nails this in like one catchphrase is the one that's like pouring lean in my Sega Genesis, which I think is very apt for what this is.
Yeah, it's very like there's like, and especially with the like video game samples and everything.
Right.
There's like I can't remember what samples were on there. There's like but there's I don't know if it was on this one too, but there's samples from Super Smash Brothers, I think.
Yeah.
There's like Pikachu doing like the electric stuff in Super Smash Brothers. There's like a sound effect on one of their songs. I don't know if it's on this project, but
no, they definitely like
they use a lot of samples like that.
They definitely pull from like a myriad of different influences, and it's like super interesting to listen to, like and amusing, just in the fact that you can listen to them and be like, oh yeah, I can hear this and this. Like, these guys are like super fucking nerds also.
Yeah.
They're just rapping about getting their dick sucked like all the time.
Yeah, because they're still kind of using like I guess you could say cliched rap topics, but like they're still like, but they're like total like nerds at the same time. Nerds. And it's like, it just you feel it.
Absolutely, like, and it really is just kind of like the atmosphere,
like a deconstruction of trap cliches.
Yeah, and even just like I think music to me is so effective with like atmosphere and is my biggest selling point in music, really. Like if your shit doesn't sound good, I'm not gonna like it regardless of what else is going on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That goes for really any genre, honestly. But when you've got this like vibe that's very similar to shoegaze, and I fuck heavy with shoegaze, so
yeah, it's like I think like cloud rap is like the modern shoegaze.
Absolutely, So I mean, this becomes like, the classic like white nerd discussion where it's like, which RCB project is the epitome of like Loveless, or which is the is like that Ride album, like
Ride's Nowhere, I think that's what it's called,
or like any Slow Dive record, like which Demons in Tokyo is is Slow Dive's first EP of this scene. It's like you just want to slap yourself while you're making these comparisons.
Right, yeah.
No one outside of a very select, group of people cares.
This very specific demographic. But at the same time, I feel like their fan base is like full of people like us.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Mhm.
how many times did it take like "Hose on Me" to grow on you? Like, 'cause it's still.
Zero.
Oh, really? Because to me, that was the only song that I was like kind of on the first like few times.
I,
But
I I remember liking it, like kind of. I remember just liking all of it when I first heard it.
I definitely liked like every song a lot except that one. But now I really like that song because it's like "Hose on Me."
Mhm.
Hose on me. Just repeat that 100 times, and it's like
Mhm.
hell yeah, hose are on
It
me.
was on me. It's just like it's repetitive, but like it's kind of like Playboy Cardi, kind of like Die Lit, how like that's kind of like mind numbing, and like that's what is so appealing about it. It's kind of like that,
In a
but
sense, but
yeah,
I feel like Dial has its own sense of like distinct like
yeah, it's definitely different. This is more
right.
like because this also kind of falls into like the bit crush sound with the
Hmm.
video game aesthetics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Versus Dial is more of like you know I like I said, Dial more of like Chief Keef with like Chief Keef mended with like Cardi doing his own thing, taken
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like its logical conclusion. Like that's really you even get like that passing of the torch moment with Keef on Mileage. Like it's that like sort of thing. Amazing song by the way. Mileage
Yeah. I
banger.
think we should start throwing around the term trap gaze.
Trap gaze.
I've heard some people say that about Die Lit. I think people were saying that about Die Lit, that it's like trap gaze.
You see the thing with Dial and we're gonna do a Cardi episode very soon on the podcast, so stay tuned for that. But there's
Hmm.
originally it was supposed to be for when Whole Lot of Red dropped, but that's
Hmm.
not a thing. So we're just gonna have to lament that. But I remember talking about Dial um, in my log a few months ago. Shout out to anyone that reads my interminably long log that has very little purpose, but I like doing it. I remember saying something about how I have a really complicated relationship with like how this website views that album because that record has been so important to me since like the day it came out.
Hmm.
And I feel like this website, like RYM kind of it really makes me upset because there's some people look at it as like the only good like, you
The
know,
only good like mainstream.
like melodic like trap record essentially.
Yeah,
And then it's just like
it's like the one that you're allowed to like.
right,
It's
just because it has
like that
it's
Carly Rae Jepsen album, Emotion.
right.
That's like this is the pop album you're allowed to like in public.
Which is a shame because those are both amazing albums, and I
Yeah,
don't
they're
think
great
that
albums. I just like I don't mean to go on like a tangent about like Carly Rae Jepsen, but like I like that album, but like I don't really get why it's like the one pop album that's like
I
so
mean
acclaimed. It just seems kind of random. It's
it,
like it's a
it's
very well written and a well made album.
it's definitely random. I feel like I mean to me personally, that album means a lot to me just in general. Of like my relationship with it over the years has been like I feel like it's a sweeping record in that like a lot of people can relate to it, but I also think it's like cool and like intimate and personal at the same time. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
it's a very well written album.
yeah, and that's like kind of my connection to it. I feel like
Mhm.
every song to me at some point has just become essential over time. And so, you know, I think it just hits. My problem is like Carly Rae Jepsen's not the only person making like great pop music.
Exactly, yeah.
Like honestly, I'm gonna talk shit on OAM, but like, and not it wasn't just me. It seems like I'm like gloating, but I was like way ahead of the Charlie XCX like wave,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
like Charlie XCX like when Pop 2 came out, then everybody liked her,
Yeah,
but
then
like.
yeah, everyone was like
But
freaking out
like,
over Pop
I
2.
mean, I love True Romance, and I actually like Sucker, which like used to
Hmm.
have a much lower rating. So like, you
Like
know,
yeah, people like it now more in retrospect.
people like things from the past, like in now more. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's just my side rant about that. But like,
Hmm.
really, like, just annoys me that like certain things that you can like on RYM. It's like just enjoy the
Hmm.
music and not just
Yeah, like I don't
like.
I don't care. Like
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely like RYM website drama is not something that I'm
Yeah, and
trying
there's like a lot of I feel like there's a lot of circle jerking on RYM. Like people love like very specific like sounds and like Radiohead. Like Radiohead
sure.
is like the highest rated album of like every year that they have an album.
Every year they have an album, and that's, for the record, like definitely one of the bands that I love the most in like rock.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's
Like I
still
love
ridiculous.
Radiohead too, but like yeah, there's like so much like like come on, Amnesiac is not the best album of 2001.
It's not even close.
Like
it's
like,
a good
like,
album.
There are probably like at least like 60 albums that are better than Amnesiac from 2001.
Yeah, I would definitely would not make like a top 30 from that year, I don't think. But yeah, like I don't know, just the Cardi thing, just kind of annoys me in the sense that it's like you don't like need to do this RYM. Like there's no reason for you to just like when the Cardi self-titled mixtape came out, and I was like, this is dope as fuck, and it had like a 2 point whatever.
Yeah, like people were like hating on it, but like it was cool. Like the self-titled was pretty cool.
The self-titled is like one of the better like summer records in like rap history, I think. Like it's like that good to me. So, like if people said they like the self-titled more than Dial It, I wouldn't even blink at that. Like I would get it.
Yeah, I think they're kind of in leagues with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, in general, RYM, Playboy Carti, kind of corny. The what it's now become, which is a shame because he's really one of my favorite artists in music, like of the last decade. Like,
but the thing is, I don't even know if it's like, does it even have like that high of an average? Like, I think it's only like 3.50 something. Which like isn't bad, especially because it has like thousands and thousands of ratings, so it's like higher on the charts.
You also have to understand that for every rap album that it has a 3.58, so that really means it has.
Oh, really? I thought it was lower than that.
That really means that it has like a 3.9 because every rap album.
That's actually like I could go on another tangent about this. Like if you compare like, wait, so sorry, you can continue.
No, we're both cutting each other off here. But if you compare, like every single rap album gets like 0.3 knocked off of its rating. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say this is like kind of unrelated, but like if you compare Rate Your Music to like other rating websites, like Letterboxd, it's like it's much like stricter, or it's like much harsher. People on Rate Your Music are like much harsher because like the highest rated on like OK Computer only has like a 4.23. And like on Letterboxd, like Parasite's like the highest rated movie, and it has like 4.6 from like tens of thousands of ratings.
Oh yeah,
hundreds of thousands of ratings.
Also, Letterboxd interface kicks the shit out of RYM's.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like it's so much sleeker. And like IMDb, like Shawshank Redemption has like 9.3 from like 3 million ratings.
Right, which is just like funny that like. I mean, IMDb is kind of trash, but that's
right. Yeah.
Besides. But
it's like Rate Your Music is like IMDb for hipsters.
Oh no, it's definitely Rate Your Music also became like a thing during the time when like hipsters actually existed. Yeah. So like a lot of the ratings in like music and film have had to like be retroactively like risen over time because like really good movies used to have lower ratings because people would like just shit on them because of like the demographic or whatever, or like really good albums, like damn well that like Playboy Carti, like if there wasn't this like revival, like or not revival, but just like this new appreciation for like Dial It or whatever, like that self-titled was gonna stay at whatever it was at.
Yeah,
like that, there wouldn't be on the bootleg in abundance, like that wouldn't have like a pretty good rating. You know what I mean?
And I feel like if Dial It was a more obscure album, it would have like the higher rating, I guess.
Oh, my Dial It was like what RCB is in a sense, or even like what Train Gang is. If Dial It was like that, it would have like a 3.9. Like it would.
Yeah, like it would actually be like much higher.
Yeah, but what can you do? Like it has the word trap in it, so it has to get
right. Yeah, it's like I don't know, people in their music elitism.
Yeah, which I guess leads to like people shitting on RCB because Demons in Tokyo has a 3.35 from 715 ratings, and a lot of people say it's like one of their favorite projects from RCB. Like a lot of diehards like have it.
Yeah, but like I get that like the sound isn't like appealing for everyone.
That's true. I mean, you don't want to listen to I don't know. I could probably listen to the last track all the time.
Yeah, but like I think overall, like I could understand why some people like wouldn't rate it very highly if they like just find it annoying or whatever, however they feel.
I guess. I mean, when I listen to the Next Daughters album and I like, doze off midway through and then I wake up toward the end, like I'll be sure to have the same results.
You'd say that about Swans.
Oh hell yeah, let's go. Let's.
But yeah, I've never been crazy about Swans. Like,
I mean, it's funny. I said let's go to like shit on them, but I really like Soundtracks for the Blind. But that's really the only Swans album that I really
say
like.
I like some of their no wave stuff, like their earlier stuff when they were doing the no wave inspired stuff. Like I think that's interesting, but like when it comes to their newer albums, like I'm not crazy about them. I like To Be Kind a fair bit. I don't think it's like a masterpiece or anything, but
I think it's like okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
I think but it's like I just never listen to them. Like I never feel the need to like revisit the Swans album
ever. I like I said,
it's like I listen to it. It's like okay, I've filled my quota for listening to Swans. It's like I can be accepted.
I can be accepted. I'm truly a masochistic nerd, right? That's what it is.
It's like I can prove I'm cultured because I've listened to Swans.
Right. Whatever Swans drops is gonna have a much higher rating than
everything else.
And that's sad. That's sad.
Dude, no, their latest album was like so mid.
Oh my! I mean,
what was it called again? Like it had a boring cover too. It was like it just had like words on the cover.
It was
I forget what it was called.
Well, Leaving Meaning, right?
Leaving Meaning, that's what it was called. It was so mid. I'm sorry if like any Swans fans are listening and they're gonna like dislike bomb this podcast, but like, I just felt nothing. I felt like not strongly about it anyway.
It was Leaving Meaning, and why am I listening to that? I was leaving the stream that I was listening to for it. I don't know. It wasn't like. Yeah, I agree with you. Like it was like it's perfectly fine music, but like I'm not gonna come back to it. Like it's But yeah. So how we got the Swans from RCB, I don't know, but that is what we do.
Like we go off on tangents. This is fun.
That is what we do on this podcast. This is a free flowing conversation, unscripted.
Yeah.
So,
you can tell because I keep stumbling and having a hard time trying to describe RCB because they are kind of beyond description sometimes.
They really are beyond description. I feel like we haven't gotten into like songs that much, but I feel like we also haven't gotten into like our super favorite projects. So that like
because like
that will come.
Like I don't know if I want to spoil what like my favorites are, although I guess I kind of already said it in my video, but
yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of like looking chronologically here, and so we had So I mean, 4 days after Demons in Tokyo came out, they dropped Bloodrayne Boys the game.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how much material they had up, or did they just record 7 songs in 3 days? I mean, that's very possible. They're all like
I feel like they're like constantly putting out stuff, and because they have like such a unique sound, it's like they're able to kind of do so much with it.
What do you think of the song with Cray on the DMD?
Can't Die Broke?
Yeah,
that's like one of their better songs from what I remember. It's like that's just DOMD and
DOMD.
Cray, is that right? Yeah. It's they've
done a couple songs together.
Yeah. I can't think of what the other ones are.
Oh gosh. It's funny. I just listened to it like probably last week. Let me look it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely.
It's always cool to see stuff though.
They did one with Slug Christ too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think Can't Die Broke is the big one.
That's like the big one. I kind of need like a refresher on how it sounds because I haven't like listened to it that much recently.
Cray has one with DOMD off of I think it was just a single. Like I don't think they ended up on any like Cray project especially.
Mm-hmm.
But like King Lamagra, like that was one that I heard. And there's like a cool video for it where they're just you can get a sense for how old DOMD is in the video, I guess.
Oh really? I don't think I've seen that video. I haven't seen like that many of their music videos. I like the LSD on my tongue video.
It's a great video. It's just High C wearing like an alien shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like kind of turns into the reptile thing.
Which honestly is essentially what you do when you listen to their music. Like,
Oh yeah. It's like you're putting LSD on your tongue. That's a really catchy song too.
great song. Love that song. Definitely a RCB classic.
Yeah.
And a song that will come into play later on a high C release that we'll get to. But yeah, Bloodrayne Boyz the game, really good project. I don't have that much to say.
Yeah,
but
I don't know that much to say either. Although I do think I do kind of want to talk about like the presentation of it, how it's like how it looks kind of like a PS1 game.
Yeah.
And like the first Bloodrayne project kind of had that too. But it like kind of plays into their like their sample choices and their sound aesthetics.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, well, first of all, shout out to this one review that says Blade and Kevin Shields sexting in RuneScape, which is absolutely hysterical. Shout out to that review. He didn't even like the record, but he gave it a great review. So
actually, it's a Dreamcast cover actually that they're mimicking. Yeah, that's right. I had to look at the cover again. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just like, it's just like kind of what they're about.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a step, like another step forward, I suppose.
Right.
You could say.
Like Till My Thumbs Bleed is like a really good song. That's a high C track.
Yeah, it's like every it's like all their tapes are just kind of like an extension of their sound and like kind of how much more they can flesh it out with each release, like how far they can push themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with them, like you could see even over the course of like the last year or so, just how far that experimentation can go. And like
right, yeah, when you go back to like the earlier tapes,
right,
like
which
like
I
even
guess
the first high C tape too, the
emo
chow one.
Yeah, I mean,
back when you go C Boogie.
C Boogie, and also shout out to the production tag where it's like C Boogie.
Yeah.
It's a great tag. It's hilarious. Like I'm telling you, man, a lot of this stuff is just absolutely hilarious.
There's it's the one tag that's like eat my pussy.
Oh, absolutely. The production was like, what I never figured out what she was saying. It was like,
I don't know what she's saying, but it just sounds like
it's something productions. It's like something
productions.
Oh,
then like eat my pussy.
You're just like, hell yeah, like let's go.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Oh, this is just gonna be the most ridiculous podcast.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about RCB. It can't be any other way.
It's gotta be ridiculous. It's gotta.
Yeah, it's great because they're such a ridiculous, off the wall group.
It's like when we talked about fucking Limp Bizkit a few weeks ago, and it was like a line about.
I heard that actually. I listened to some of your conversations on that.
When
you were talking about all that butt rock.
Yeah, but shout out to fucking the
Redoors Down.
Penny Sniffer title of the Limp Bizkit track, I think. Wasn't that a song?
What song?
No, Fred Durst was gonna call it the album Penny Sniffer. Originally, the Limp Bizkit record, I think. That was what we were that was what this reminded me of. Is that. So yeah. Sometimes you just gotta do it. But yeah, I guess like Reptilian Cashapp Boyz, if we're just gonna go straight up like downward,
chronological,
because that
one came out. Yeah, that came out in February.
It's 5 minutes, and it's just like
it's 2 tracks. Yeah, it's like a DOMD EP.
2 really good songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like also even the song titles like 25i Evil Servant Swag, like that's just such a RCB title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all their like title and their titles just get weirder like from there.
Yeah, it's just like a performance art.
yeah, it really is.
These are 2 really good songs. I don't have that much to say about it other than like, hey, this cover art fucking rips.
Oh yeah.
This cover
it's
art.
Like the graphics are getting better.
They really are.
This is starting to look like an old PC game or something.
Absolutely. I'm trying to beat the boss in this game, like on lock. Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, EP, 2 tracks, not much to say about it. Really good as usual. And Also, I guess this leads into talking about like some of the singles because I think the one that really got a lot of them noticed on
The
SoundCloud stuff
juiced up
was
pop punk emo swag.
like that's like their big
That
song.
song is amazing.
I think it's one of the best rap songs of the last few years. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
unreal. Like, the 2010s in rap is so fucking ridiculous. Like,
Dude, yeah, that's why it's like my favorite decade for rap.
like
If
how do you
not for
even,
music. If
like
not
how
for
do you
music in
even,
general.
like define this stuff? Like, it's just it's so beautiful. Like this song.
Dude, I love the name.
Oh,
Oh yeah, juiced up pop punk emo swag.
this is definitely pop punk emo swag. Like,
Yeah, this is like the modern day emo swag.
like it really is insane. Also, shout out to user Cassistim. Cassistim, however you're pronouncing it, but really great review of this. Like, really great review. Definitely, I know that we kind of shied away from using like post things, but definitely if you wanted to be like, hey, this is like post all of these genres,
It's like post music.
Right, I would like definitely, I would sort of co-sign that take because it's just like
post hip hop, post pop.
right.
It's like more of a pop song. It kind of feels like almost more of a pop song.
Yeah,
than
it's
hip-hop.
definitely
it's like an art pop kind of joint.
Yeah, you think like St. Vincent's like bumping this?
Oh, I hope so.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
we need like a St. Vincent High C collab.
It's just the whitest audience ever. You imagine
St.
what
Vincent or like one of the PC music
Oh,
people
what,
on that
what would
roster.
those? Well, no. PC music has too much of a diverse, ethnically diverse fan base. Probably, we need like the whitest possible crowd. Like, how can we get like a collab with like Laura Marling and like fucking like High C?
What we really need is a 100 Gex collab.
Well, that just feels natural.
Yeah. There's like a lot of overlap there.
Oh, that is more than a flat circle. That's just like that's a sphere.
Yeah.
That is like if we thought it was a flat circle with Drain Gang with 100 Gex. Well, that's the thing. Drain Gang, Goth Money, BMB, all these like any like sort of obscure like SoundCloud rap, and then you throw in a PC music and 100 Gex. That's also a flat circle. Like
yeah.
it's the same. It's the same.
It's all like just internet music of the late 2010s, and probably like it'll probably continue throughout the 2020s. I feel like this is like the sound of the decade. Although I mean, of course, we don't know yet because it's only 2020. But
yeah, like what is like because right now like the older Zoomers are making music, but like we're not even talking about like the 16-year-olds or like the 17-year-olds. Like what happens when they start like making music or whatever? Like it's gonna be wild stuff.
Yeah, and like the people who grew up on this, like what are they gonna make?
Exactly. I have no fucking idea if your favorite song is like LSD on my tongue. Like
yeah,
what?
favorite song is LSD on my tongue. You're gonna become a pretty awesome rapper.
Pretty fucking based, if I say so myself.
Yeah.
The song rules. One of the best songs of 2019, easily one of the best songs of the last couple of years, I think. Like it's something that could only be created in an era of the internet.
Yeah, like this could not have existed like any like before this. Like I guess it could have existed probably before 2019, but like it couldn't have existed in the past.
Yeah. It can only exist in like a post a bunch of artists world.
Like a post streaming world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a post SoundCloud world where anyone can just post anything that they want to.
Yeah, it's like, people like, it's amazing that like the evolution of what we call SoundCloud rap has like happened over the years.
Yeah, it's like this is kind of like what people think of now when they think of SoundCloud rap, because like the whole like popular SoundCloud rap thing kind of died off because it became super oversaturated in like about 2016 or so probably. That's when it was like
probably
started
like
to become like what?
Yeah, I think it's like 2017 is when like Lil Pump was like big and stuff. So I think it was around that time.
Yeah, and like X kind of like did that
Yeah,
a lot too.
I
He was
think
like a SoundCloud rapper that like hit the mainstream.
right, and I think 2018 definitely had a lot of people that were like really late to it or whatever, jumping on the bandwagon, and like a lot of new artists coming up that were trying to like be the next X. And
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like in 2018, like well, first with Peep dying, and then really with X dying. I think X dying
Yeah, that was
signified like the end of SoundCloud rap in the mainstream.
like it was almost like his death was almost kind of emblematic of that.
Right, and since then, like Lil Pump and Smoke Perp have not had like any hits. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Smoke Perp's last album sold 5K first week, like just an absolutely pitiful number.
Like I don't even really know what's like popping in the mainstream right now. Like maybe I just haven't been paying close enough attention.
I
But like
mean,
I don't
it's a lot of
like.
over the last couple of years, it's really been the rise of like melodic trap music, like
Mhm.
essentially taking. I mean, Cardi wasn't even like popular until like Magnolia. Like it was,
Yeah,
it's kind of like taking, what the Futures and the Keefs and the Young Thugs and et cetera of the world, and just like really expanding on that. It's like a bunch of kids that were like 13 when those guys came up, and now they're like 19 and they're like rapping. Like
right.
I was pretty early on like the Roddy Riches and like the Polo G's of the world and stuff.
Yeah.
And
They've
like
been getting pretty big.
seeing them become huge is like really gratifying because
Pop
like,
Smoke too, R.I.P.
oh bro, I remember when Welcome to the Party, like I heard Welcome to the Party because I read like a review from I think it was Al Pierre and Pitchfork. Shout out to Al Pierre. But I read a song review of it when the video dropped, and this is when it had like no shine, and it was
Mhm.
only big in like New York, and like I lived at the time like very close to New York, but even then like I didn't really know about him, but I just listened to the song and I was like, holy shit, like what is going on here? And
Mhm.
then it just Dior came out and then it like really took off. And,
Yeah.
like that was so I feel like the NY drill stuff and the melodic trap stuff has been like where hip hop is at right now. Like
I can see that.
being more either like taking like street music and like making it less regional, because like an artist like Roddy Ricch or like Polo G, those are like pretty regional artists at first, and then they blew up. And
Right.
then like, but also artists like, and even Pop Smoke, that's a very like regional sound. Like he sounds like New York,
Mhm.
but it just blew up. But like, I feel like it's either that or it's like how to be a more accessible Young Thug. So it's like
Mhm.
which Gunna, and that's no disrespect because I like Gunna, but it's like which Gunna song is big right now. Like it's like
Yeah.
I mean Lil Baby's having a massive year. I actually do think Lil Baby's good, and he's like had a. It's cool to see him like people kind of turn around on him.
Yeah.
I think.
He had that really good Black Lives Matter song, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Big Picture track. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great track.
That's a really great song.
It's wild the tonal whiplash when you see RYM love that song, but also not realize he has a bunch of other songs in his catalog that are like that. So
Mhm.
it's like funny that all his albums are rated like 2.5 and that song is like 3.9 or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainstream trap tangent aside,
Mhm.
RCB is definitely a reaction to that.
Yeah.